Hi, Chelsea. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So to start, this is an exciting time for wrestling in general because you have not only, it's Monday Night Raw every week, you have SmackDown, you have all of these things, but it's also leading up to the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania and all of these big kind of tentpole moments for the wrestling community. So for you as a wrestler and a stunt woman and all of these things kind of rolled into one, what about this time of year, especially within the wrestling community, is the most fun for you to get to kind of explore?
Oh, I mean, really just starting over the year and a fresh start is always good for anybody outside of wrestling, but for wrestlers specifically, we have so much in this first little section of the year with the
Mhm.
Rumble and with WrestleMania and things like that. So it's really exciting because this is our fresh start. We are in Mania season now, whether we want to be in it or not. We are in Mania season, so it's go time in our training, in our ramping up the theatrics and the
Mhm.
storylines and things like that. So, I'm excited. I think I had a really, really fun 2023, but I was just getting started. So, 2024, I don't know what's to come, but I know it's good.
I'm so excited because it was very funny when my, as we talked about briefly before this, I come from a family where like my brothers used to film fake wrestling matches and I'm significantly younger than them. So I was their like wrestling doll, like have two dislocated shoulders because they just pulled me back and forth and then like didn't realize what they were doing. But it made me kind of like as I got older, I was like, this is my brother's thing. I'm ignoring wrestling. And then it was like almost recently with Survivor Series, my brother was like, no, you should actually like dive into especially women's wrestling. It is the most exciting aspect of the WWE right now. And I like completely agreed. I was like, oh, this rules. Like watching these ladies like take on and so it like take on everybody in Survivor Series was so cool. I also felt I was like I'm obsessed with Cody Rhodes. Like there was like so many things that I'm like I'm obsessed with all of this. This rules. And so for you getting to be kind of that renaissance of like women tackling and women have been a part of the WWE for years, but like right now is such a cool time to be a woman in wrestling. What for you is important to kind of like show audiences, especially young girls who are maybe like wrestling's for boys, wrestling's not for us, to see this kind of era of the WWE?
Well, I mean, I think you just said so much there that I agree with. The women who came before us absolutely paved the way for us,
Mhm.
without a doubt. They really, really had to kind of like climb uphill both ways to get to where we are now. And
Mhm.
then, of course, the women that were in the Give Divas a Chance era around 2014 really, really paved the way because they stepped up the technical abilities of what people thought women could do. But now we're in this amazing era where we're not we're not women wrestlers. We're just wrestlers. People are coming for us. It doesn't matter whether we're female or male or whether we're heel or face, whether we're, whatever it is, they're just coming to see a really, really amazing show. And I don't think it's been like that in wrestling in a really long time. For me, especially with my character, it's important for me to show people that, you know, you don't have to be able to do back flips and front flips and this and that. There is a place for everyone in wrestling. Doesn't matter your race, your gender, your size, your physical ability. What matters is, you make yourself special. And that's what I've done. I know that I can get in the ring and do a lot of those physical aspects of it. But at the end of the day, what I love is bringing my acting ability, is bringing the theater, is bringing comedy, is bringing stand up, is bringing all these improv, all these things to wrestling. That's what I'm unique for. And I think that's a really cool thing about WWE is you look on the roster and everyone is so different right now. We don't have a quote unquote like this is what a wrestler
Mhm.
should be like. It's not like that anymore.
Well, and it's so interesting you say that because like I grew up in the era of the WWE, like, and the minute I started watching Survivor Series, I was like, oh, I understand why I enjoy this because Triple H is in charge. Because I grew up in the Triple H, Undertaker, like that whole era of wrestling, and I just
The
remember
Attitude
it.
Era.
Yeah, I remember it so clearly, and then like it would fade or like like it would be like this weird like oh I don't know if I like this, but like I remember how much I liked like Triple H and the Undertaker and all of those wrestlers back in the 90s and early 2000s. And so to hear you be like, I'm bringing the theatrics, that it literally became my favorite part, I think, of this new era of the WWE. Like, I was so mad no one told me Cody Rhodes had an American Psycho era. I was like, that's my favorite thing. I would have watched the WWE the minute I heard this. But
Right.
for you, like getting to apply all of that in something like wrestling that, for years has had this kind of reputation for people who aren't fans of it, but if you were in it, you get it. Like, how is it being part of that new wave? Because we did kind of fade away after the Ric Flair theatrics of it all and kind of go into this like, no, this is a serious sport. But it is the fun of wrestling is it's a serious sport with these theatrical elements involved.
Absolutely. And before me, there was Santino and so many other, I mean, the 90s were full of theatrics, but I like to think that I'm trying to bring it back. I'm trying to revive it a little bit. I'm
Mhm.
trying to make wrestling fun again because for the past few years we have been so serious, and I was there. I was absolutely there. I came from the independent scene. I went to NXT. I was as serious as you could be. I was trying to do the moves. I was trying to do, what I thought wrestling should be. But again, wrestling is for everybody, and there is someone sitting behind that TV screen thinking, "Oh, I can't do that big splash off the top rope, but I can do what Chelsea's doing, I am funny or I am quick-witted or I do have improv skills," and that is just the beauty of it.
And do you like this kind of current era of like everyone, either coming into wrestling on their own or finding that one thing that they really love? Because I think, especially, with the release of the Iron Claw, a lot of people were like, oh, now I'm going to learn about the Von Erichs. Like if they didn't already kind of know, which it has been very funny to watch everyone be like, there was another brother. And they're like, what? There was another one kind of deal. But do you think like, how is it for you in being in this era, which so many people are coming to wrestling that either are brand new to it or like me who have reignited this love that we've had for years?
Well, I think that's the best part of this era is I think a lot of us have, especially in this age range, say our 30s,
Yeah.
maybe late 20s, early 40s, we have this crazy sense of nostalgia with everything, right? Every neons are coming back and we love the 80s and 90s music and this and that. It's the same way with wrestling. We are always going to idolize the Attitude Era or whatever came before us. But the beauty of right now is that we're in an age where we have current superstars that are absolutely amazing, paving the way for people like Rhea Ripley. Then you've got someone who kind of came a little bit before us, like Randy Orton and like Cody Rhodes and things like that, that are still in their prime.
Mhm.
And we thought they were in their prime 10 years ago. And then we've got people like Ric Flair going and wrestling again that we as kids watch. That is the
Mhm.
beauty of 2023, 2024 is we're seeing we're seeing everything, and this age group is so healthy. Everyone's taking care of themselves. It's not like the 90s. So we're doing well. You're going to see a lot of us wrestle into our 40s and so on. So I think these next few years coming up is going to be really, really crazy for the nostalgia factor.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And to switch gears slightly, but I wanted to ask about something that I do know you're very passionate about and whether you would ever apply this to like your platform with the WWE. I know you have many, many pets. As a cat owner myself, I do love that you have more cats than dogs. That makes me slightly happy because I'm like, yay, represent the cats. Tired of people being mean to cats. Dogs are great, but so are cats. Is your love of animals something you would ever kinda use within your WWE platform to kinda, like, advocate for? Because I know there are so many people who like, I always talk about pit bulls because people are so mean to pit bulls, and I'm like, "They're the nicest dogs." But, um, is there would you use that in your with your platform?
I mean, with my platform, I always want to help the causes that I love. So, during Pride Month, I try to donate all my funds from t-shirt sales to the Trevor Project. And I am always, always advocating for don't shop, adopt. Now, granted, I have two beautiful doodles,
Mhm.
beautiful, that I paid a lot of money for, right? But at the end of the day, my cats are all from shelters. I have an amazing beautiful bangles sitting beside me right now. This shadow is the cat tower. I have a Russian blue. I have a Siamese cat. They're all adopted. Anytime I can try to donate to a shelter, um, try to help my friends who are advocates for rescuing animals. They're in Bali right now. I will always do that. This Christmas, I tried to clear a list for a local shelter in Winnipeg. Um, anything that I can do, of course. Can I do more? Absolutely. Always. Every year I think, okay, like what is this year going to bring? What can I do to help other people, whether it's the
Your cat heard we were talking
LGBTQ
about her.
community or whether it's my love of animals, whatever I can do, I'm always going to help. I'm always kind of open. So if anyone watching this wants to slide into my DMs and has a shelter that needs help or a dog that needs to be walked at a shelter, I'm usually your girl because my love of animals knows no bounds unless it's snakes.
Oh my god, same. Well, it's funny, I was like, my cat was free.com because it was like someone was like, "Do you want to adopt this cat?" And I was like, "Yes." And
Yep.
I would murder for that cat, I think. Like, I
I
was like,
mean, that
if
that's
someone
like
touches him.
there is something so beautiful about adopting and then seeing them years down the road and they're just like my cats have no worries.
Mhm.
No worries. I mean, they sit in their cat tower and they snooze all day and they eat the best food and I cuddle them, like they're living the best life. And I just want every single animal in the world to to feel like that. And don't we all of us animal lovers
Yeah.
feel that way?
100%. And also, I think one of my favorite things about wrestling is the I don't want to call it the afterlife of wrestling because a lot of these wrestlers who have moved on to this what I'm going to talk about have gone back to wrestling multiple times, famously currently The Rock doing it. But I do love the connection of acting to wrestling. My brother got very mad at me recently because I was talking about story structure when I was watching Survivor Series and he was like, "Stop talking about like the story structure of this. You're gonna ruin it for me." And I was like, but this is what fascinates me about wrestling is you see the arcs of these characters. And like while it is such a high stakes sport, it also does have the like you were saying, those theatrical moments that for people like me who was a theater kid, like we can connect on that level. But it is rooted in like being able to go on to acting and things like that after. And you kind of had your start within stunts in the acting world. Is that something that you like to bring in on both sides? And you'd mentioned improv, like, is that such an important, like, skill to keep up with as much as, working out and keeping your body in shape?
For me, absolutely, because I dream big. The
Mhm,
minute that I hit a goal, I'm thinking, what's next? So when I got to WWE, I kind of dove deeper and thought, like, why do I love this? Why am I so obsessed with wrestling? What is it? And one thing that I learned along this journey, I've been doing this for 10 years, is that I really dove deep into wrestling when I was given a character, whether it was, the Reclusa character at Lucha Underground, whether it was the hot mess at Impact, or whether it is the Karen at WWE. That's what I love. And again, for the afterlife or the longevity of a wrestler, you want to think, what do I love about this? What when I stop the physical aspect of actually wrestling, of throwing a punch, of falling for a living, what do I want to do that's going to still make me happy? For me, that is acting. That's character acting. So I try to keep up that skill as much as I can. I take audition classes as well as classes here in Orlando, Florida, with a studio called Class Act. So I'm always looking to keep that skill up because if you don't, you never know. It's like any skill. And last year I was able to get into a little bit more movies and things like that. So I hopefully in the coming years that I just keep auditioning and I just keep flexing that acting ability and land some roles. Who knows?
hope so because that's one of my favorite things to see is like Sasha Banks in The Mandalorian or Smojo in Twisted Metal, like seeing not just John Cena and The Rock and Dave Batista, like seeing all of these newer wrestlers continue that trend is very cool to me because I'm like, yes,
I mean, if you go on your streaming service, you literally see Edge, Samoa Joe,
Edge too, yeah.
MJF, Sasha Banks. Like it is amazing because I do think now we've we've gone away from the typical silly wrestling acting, and we are actors now.
Mm.
These are, Raw is one of the longest televised shows. So we're acting. We are acting on top of doing a very, very, very physical sport. We are also acting, and that's the beauty of it. There's a lot going on in WWE.
I love it. And so I do want to ask because I think there's always like, that wrestler that like inspired you to kind of get into it. Cause like I was saying earlier, like my family was obsessed with like Ric Flair. But for you, what was that one moment that you knew like wrestling's gonna be my thing? Like I want to be a part of this.
Well, that's so funny you asked that because people ask me who I love and who
Mhm.
I idolize and this and that, but I remember the exact moment that I thought, "Oh my god, this is for me." So, my hometown is very, very small. It's an island off the coast of Vancouver, um, and every 5 years, maybe, WWE comes and does a live show in Victoria. I went to that show, and Kelly came out in a sparkly bra, purple, never forget, purple sparkly bra, purple booty shorts, and she did a handspring into a back elbow, and I thought she was the most beautiful, athletic, talented woman I had ever seen because I had never seen anything like that. I had never seen a woman doing something so physical while looking so beautiful, while acting ridiculously. It was all these amazing things at once, like a sensory overload, and, that was it for me. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's amazing." I didn't start until probably 8 years later,
Mhm.
but that moment has stuck with me forever.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for talking with me today. I am so excited to have, not only have this love reignited, but just to see how amazing WWE has kind of become and changed throughout the year. So I can't wait to see what you do this year and just everything coming up.
Thank you, and next time we need to talk all things Star Wars, and
Yes.
yes, we need to get
My
on here.
Leia. I don't know if you can see her. 'Cause she's upside down, but there's my little Leia.
Oh, we can discuss the Star Wars hotel. We can discuss it all because, honey, I have a husband who is a big old fan, so I'm in for the Star Wars ride.
Normally when I'm home, because I'm visiting my mom, not in my own apartment, I have my Grogu behind me, and all of my Star Wars things are normally behind me when I'm doing interviews, so 100%.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Of course, have a great one.